In the spring of 1900, a crew of sponge divers took shelter from a Mediterranean storm. While waiting for the weather to clear, they explored the seafloor and stumbled across a Roman-era shipwreck. Among the ruins, they found a corroded lump of rock and metal. The wreck lay just off the coast of a small Greek island named Antikythera. The Greek Navy arrived to help salvage the site. Over the next year, divers hauled up the expected cargo of a wealthy merchant vessel, including luxury glassware, jewelry, and magnificent bronze statues. Amidst these recognizable treasures, the heavily calcified bronze they had found earlier looked entirely ordinary. The crew initially dismissed it as a piece of the ship's frame or general debris. This seemingly worthless mass revealed a level of mechanical sophistication with no known parallel in the ancient world. The artifact sat ignored in an Athens museum for nearly 2 years, until an archaeologist named Valerius Stice decided to examine it closely. Stice noticed a detail that appeared to contradict the historical record. Embedded within the rock and sea growth was a precision-cut gear wheel. At the time, the scientific community struggled to reconcile this find with existing history. Gears of this complexity were thought to have appeared much later, leading many to assume it was a modern clock that had been dropped onto the ancient wreck. Decades of investigation, eventually culminating in modern X-ray and CT scans, allowed researchers to look past the corrosion. Those images revealed dozens of interlocking bronze gears and thousands of characters of instructional Greek text hidden inside the casing. The scans confirmed that this object was the core of an analog computer, a device built with a mechanical precision that researchers are still working to fully understand. The Antikythera Mechanism was originally housed in a wooden box roughly the size of a mantel clock, packed with an intricate train of bronze gears. Its pointers tracked the movements of the cosmos rather than the hours of the day. The large dial on the front mapped the exact position of the sun against the zodiac. It also displayed the current phase of the moon and the paths of the 5 planets visible to the naked eye. Dials on the back predicted eclipses, mapping the Saros cycle, a 223-month loop where the sun, earth, and moon align. A smaller nested dial completed a rotation every 4 years, pointing to pan-Hellenic athletic festivals like the Olympiad. By placing this civic calendar alongside eclipse predictors, the machine tied human history to the mechanical rhythm of the sky. Turning a single hand crank mounted on the side of the wooden case put the entire network of gears into motion simultaneously. The internal logic worked like a manual transmission. Different sized gears meshed together to step the speed up or down, dictating how fast each specific pointer moved across the dials. By calculating the exact number of triangular teeth required on each gear, the makers ensured that a single turn of the crank translated into accurate planetary movements. This presented a major mathematical hurdle. The moon's orbit around Earth is elliptical, meaning it moves faster when it is closer to Earth and slower when it is farther away. Greek astronomers observed this variation in the sky, but building a physical machine to automatically replicate that shifting speed required a specialized engineering solution. To solve for the moon's shifting speed, the Greeks invented a mechanism that operates on the concept of a pin and a slot. They mounted 2 gears slightly off-center from each other. A small pin on the bottom gear rode inside a slot cut into the top gear. As the wheels turned, the pin was forced to slide back and forth within that slot. This action mechanically forced the lunar pointer to accelerate and decelerate in a smoothly repeating pattern. This physical algorithm mapped out the lunar anomaly centuries before the mathematical tools required to describe such a wave on paper appeared in historical records. The existence of this gear train confirms that Greek researchers possessed the mechanical expertise required to translate abstract astronomical theories into functional, high-precision hardware. When investigating an artifact this old, researchers must draw a hard line between forensic evidence and speculation. The 82 surviving fragments provide the verifiable proof. The gear ratios used to predict eclipses and solve the lunar anomaly are physically present in the bronze. Inscriptions found on the fragments provide reliable clues for reconstruction, describing the missing planetary pointers that once graced the front dial. Other details remain subject to debate. Scholars continue to argue over whether Archimedes designed the original prototype, or if manufacturing inaccuracies in the hand-cut teeth caused the mechanism to frequently jam. Regardless of the missing pieces, The verified evidence proves that the capability to build complex machines existed over 1,000 years earlier than previously believed. If humans possessed this level of precision 2,000 years ago, why is there a 1,400-year void before similar mechanical complexity appears in the cathedrals of medieval Europe? The answer lies in the value of the materials. Bronze was a precious resource, and as empires fell, devices like this were routinely melted down to forge weapons or mint currency. The workshops that built them and the technical traditions required to pass down this knowledge were eventually lost to war and systemic collapse. The Antikythera Mechanism survives today because the merchant ship carrying it sank, sealing the device in the mud where it remained unreachable for 2 millennia. Today, the corroded fragments sit on a modern museum shelf, raising a haunting question. How many other technological marvels were lost forever simply because they didn't fall to the bottom of the sea?